Today, I've got the keys to a 2024 Chevrolet Colorado ZR2 Bison, and it is Chevy's latest purpose-built off-road midsize truck. And I have a lot of things that I like about this truck, but I've got a few criticisms. But what's great about today is we have a lot of options if we want to buy a purpose-built midsize truck. You've had the Toyota Tacoma for many years. We've had the Jeep Gladiator, which I've had two of, and today I'll be kind of looking at this truck through the lens of a Gladiator owner and doing a little bit of compare and contrast. And at the end of the video, I'll tell you if I think this is actually better than a Gladiator. We've got the Ford Ranger Raptor, and we've got the Ineos Quartermaster. All great trucks in their own right, but I think there's some really unique things about this Chevy Colorado ZR2 Bison to like. And today we're going to take a close-up look at it. We're going to hit the trails, hit the road, and I'll give you my overall impressions of it. Now, I've been driving around in this truck for about the last 5 days, and no, I did not buy another vehicle. This is a Chevrolet press vehicle, and they send it out to folks in the media to get to use, and I get to use this truck for about a week. And today, I'm gonna take it on the trail for the first time, but I've really enjoyed driving it and really kind of getting to know it. Now, let's talk about some of the specifics. First of all, the color is nitro yellow metallic, and well, I kind of like the color, especially with all the black accents. My wife was a little indifferent. She didn't really love it. So I think it's one of those colors that you're either gonna love or you're not gonna like. But in the sun, it sparkles, it looks good. I love the styling of the Colorado. I think the front end is extremely aggressive and modern looking. They've done a great job overall. The stance on the truck is perfect. Now let's talk about some of the specific modifications that they've done to this to make this so off-road capable. Now with the Bison Edition, you get some really nice off-road durable upgrades from AEV. And AEV does an amazing job developing aftermarket components for vehicles that are going to go out and do some long off-road expeditions out in the wild. And this truck has some really nice ones. And we're going to start with the bumper. This is a really well-designed, tucked-in steel bumper, and I love how just sleek it looks. You've got lots of ground clearance. You've got some red tow hooks, but what I really like is right from the factory, you have a winch-capable bumper. So you can install a winch right now. That way you don't have to worry if you get stuck somewhere. Let's pop the hood and take a look underneath. Now, under the hood of the ZR2 Bison, we have a turbocharged 2.7 liter inline four-cylinder, and it makes an impressive 310 horsepower and 430 pound-feet of torque. And I can tell you, after driving this thing around, it's got plenty of get up and go for a truck like this. It's paired with an 8-speed transmission, and there's a transfer case that has high and low four-wheel drive range. Plus, this truck has front and rear lockers. Now, one of the most important characteristics of a good off-road truck is what kind of tires are you running and what size are they? And these are a Goodyear Wrangler mud terrain, and they are a 35-inch tire straight from the factory. You can't get that with a Gladiator. Why not? I think it's awesome that this comes with a 35, and they are wrapped around a nice set of AEV wheels. Now, behind here, we have a front independent suspension, so it's not solid axle, but it's very comfortable and durable on long trips. And there's a really stout suspension, but my favorite part of the suspension is you have hydraulic bump stops front and rear. And that means if you're cruising along in the desert or down the trail and you've got a little bit of speed and there's a bump that kind of surprises you a little bit, this is going to soak it up really nicely. Did I mention that I like that this thing comes with 35-inch tires? Heck yeah. Now on the side of the truck, you have some very nicely designed rock sliders. And a lot of manufacturers will develop a rock slider and maybe it's a single piece of metal or it sticks straight out. What they've done here is they designed something that goes with the contours of the vehicle, which one, gives you a lot of clearance, and two, gives you some nice protection. So when you're out on the rocks and you kind of come up to something, you're gonna save your truck. Those are a huge asset. In the back of the truck bed, we have a 5-foot truck bed, and because this has larger tires, they have mounted the spare tire in the back. I don't love the fact that you have to mount it back here for two reasons. One, it takes up space in the back of the truck, And two, when you're driving down the road, it blocks your visibility out of the rear view mirror. It actually is pretty significant. I think about, I drive a Wrangler and there's a little bit of blocked visibility with the spare tire, but you can still see over it. Where this blocks almost 2/3 of your view, it's kind of challenging. It would be nice if they would put like an electronic camera mirror there so you could just kind of see past the spare tire. I don't hate having it here, but I don't love it either. On the back of the truck, we also have another stout steel AEV bumper, and this has got some really aggressive tow hooks in case, you need to pull yourself out of a sticky situation or pull a buddy out for sure. Got a 5-foot truck bed, and there's a 400-watt outlet back here, but what I really like, and sometimes it's the small things, is there's actually 8 of these small tie downs over there. I can't tell you how many times I've needed an extra place for a tie down, or I needed to go high or needed to go low. It's the little things like that that I like. But again, you do lose a little bit of space back here with your spare tire. What a beautiful day. Okay, before we talk about the interior, just one little thing to mention, and that is when you are out here in the backcountry, you should not be out here without a first aid kit. And this is the TrailRecon Vehicle Trauma Kit, and I will leave a link down below where you can pick this up. You need to have a first aid kit with you, and this one has all the supplies. But it's not just enough to carry a first aid kit with you. You need to know what gear is in here and how to use it. So I encourage you to take a basic first aid class. You can go online to the American Red Cross and do the online one, but honestly, nothing beats a hands-on first aid class. And if you just do a little searching, I'm sure you can find one in your area. All right, now let's talk about the inside of this truck, which I have come to really like. And I'm going to start with the seats. These seats are incredibly comfortable. Like the Jeep seats, since 2018 to 2024, they haven't changed. And they're still not comfortable. These seats are really nice. They're heated and cooled, and you get some yellow seat belts, which, I think that adds like 5 horsepower or whatever. The layout of the inside is really nice. You have an 11.3-inch touchscreen here, which has all the nice features. It's very responsive, but you still have some physical large knobs for the volume, for your climate control. And then down below, you've got some beefy knobs for your front and rear lockers and all the other basic accoutrements that you would get in a vehicle. Now, there are no analog gauges in this truck, and honestly, I didn't know how I was going to feel about that, but I really like it. It's very clear. You've got several different options of how you can lay it out, which I really like. It's just nice and colorful. I really like the dash. And down here you have your mode selector, so you can go from 4 high, 4 low, you can put in an auto, and then there's a ring here that you turn, and that will give you your different terrain modes. And I will just say Baja mode is a whole lot of fun. Plus, you've got some, there's a lot of plastic in here, but it's somewhat soft in some of the areas, and you've got the yellow stitching for the Bison, and you've got the ZR2 badge over there as well. It's a really nice layout. It does have wireless car charging, which again, my Gladiator doesn't have. You do have a USB and a USB-C plug down here. You've got 2 cup holders here. You got 2 cup holders in the rear, cup holders in all the doors, so plenty of cup holders for the family. And honestly, there's a lot of room in here. I'm 6'2", and I don't have the seats all the way back, so there's a lot of adjustability in these electric seats. I've just been really enjoying the comfort of this truck. One other thing to mention is, if Regina gets in here, how you always fight a little bit with the seats to get the seats and the mirrors right. Well, this actually comes with presets. So when you hop in the car after your wife drives it or after your husband drives it, you just press a button and everything goes back. It's got a lot of nice features that I kind of wish my Jeep Gladiator had. All right, let's hop in the back. Now, before I hop in the back, 2 things. One, there are rubber floor mats front and rear, which is nice to have in any off-road vehicle, and I'm kind of getting these dirty already. And these back seats do lift up, where it gives you access to your jack, and there's a little bit of storage back here. And then hopping inside, now, I haven't moved the front seat at all, and I've actually got quite a bit of leg room, lots of headroom, and rear seats, usually they compromise on comfort. These are pretty comfortable. I wouldn't mind spending a little bit of time back here on a road trip. Now, you do have the high-speed yellow seat belts, some yellow stitching. You've got some vents back here and a couple of little USB ports. All in all, the rear of the truck, Yeah, pretty nice for a mid-sized truck. So I think there's a lot to like about this truck. Now, let me give you my impressions driving it on the road, and then I'm gonna go get it dirty out here on the trail, and then I'll share with you whether or not I think this is better than the Jeep Gladiator. I think my answer might surprise you. Now, I mentioned I've been driving this Colorado for a few days now, and on road, it's really a joy. It's comfortable. The seating position is comfortable. The steering is tight and responsive. I mean, we're not in a sports car by any means. This is a truck, but it's really nice to drive, and you've got a little bit of horsepower. So, you know, passing on the freeway, climbing hills, you know, you just want to kind of get after a little bit. It's great. And the good news is it takes some of these corners really well. The suspension is extremely dialed in for this. I'm on a pretty rough single road. It's kind of windy and twisting through here, and it's just comfortable. It's very quiet here in the cabin, not like a Jeep at all, where you get all the wind noise and everything in here. It's just like driving in a nice, comfortable, quiet truck. I really enjoy that, actually. Once in a while, it's nice to have a little bit of, you know, quietness, be able to hear your radio, have a good conversation with a passenger. I love my Jeep, but the truth is, they're just a little noisy sometimes. And the exhaust note on here, it's not great. It sounds like a, you know, a small little engine with a wannabe kind of big exhaust, but at the end of the day, this is a fun little truck to drive on the road, and I would have no problems driving this thing on a long trip because it is just so comfortable and quiet. Driving the Chevy Colorado ZR2 Bison off-road, and you can tell it's in its element. It is just soaking up these ruts and some of these bumps a little bit. Now, I didn't air down, which would have made this a little bit nicer because my son borrowed my portable air compressor, but I will say Chevy did an amazing job with the suspension. It's really comfortable. I don't feel like I'm being beat up really hard, and I've hit a couple of these little whoops and some of these ruts with a little bit of speed. It's not my truck, I gotta take it easy, but you know, sometimes when you hit those bump stops and you just get that jarring sensation, you don't get it here because those hydraulic bump stops just soak it up. So this thing is a lot of fun to kind of push a little bit. I'm not gonna get crazy with it, but what a nice little ride. And being on 35-inch tires, you know, I always say bigger tires make for smaller holes, and that's true here. Even though we're not aired down, it's doing it really well. This is a fun little truck to drive. All right, let's keep on going. This truck is a whole lot of fun to drive, and you can kind of push it hard. You know, it's got a little bit of horsepower, it's got a great suspension, and those hydraulic bump stops paired with those 35-inch tires just soak up the terrain. Now, the question I asked in the beginning is this better than a Jeep Gladiator? And well, I think if you're like a rock crawler, like you want to go just get after it, go do the Rubicon Trail, do the hardest trails you can find, which I think is a very small percentage of people, then the Gladiator is the best choice. But honestly, I think for most folks that want to come out here and have adventures and have a very capable and comfortable vehicle that is also their daily driver, this is a great truck. And so, yes, I think it is better than a Jeep Gladiator. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching.